Hi and welcome to this bit of a tutorial on how to add some colour to your various rock moulds. So these are just woodland scenic rock moulds, and I'm going to add a bit of colour. What I'm using for my colour is the Winsor Newton, so these are artist oil paints. They are a little bit expensive, but a little will go a very long way, as you'll see. And for this demonstration I'm just using Van Dyke Brown, which gave us this sort of colour. We've got Raw Umber, which has given us this. It might be a little hard to see. And the difference across there is just different amounts of what I've made up as a wash. And then we've got Burnt Umber. And that's that one. It's really only just personal preference, and you could get away with just using the one colour really and just vary the tones, but a bit of a range is nice. I've found that the Raw Umber is a bit more of a black in it, particularly when it's thicker, so that'll be nice for tunnel portals, particularly on the roof where it might be a lot more smoke, is where I'd like to use that one. The artist's colours are just diluted with the Pure Gum Turpentine. Now this is really smelly. You really only want to use it outside, and you might want to be quite careful. If you've got some health concerns, you might not want to use it. There's some others that I haven't got yet that I'm having a look at, and one is a citrus turpentine too for thinning the paint. The paint itself is a really thick consistency. I'll show you a little bit here. So it'll hold its shape. And what I'm doing is just using a little bit diluted with a whole lot of thinners. So I've got some thinners in here. Here's the Van Dyke Brown, and this is just a bottle. I've put a length of Van Dyke Brown about that long straight out of the bottle. I've already used a little bit of this, but it was very thick, so I'll just mix it up and put that in there with some of the other Van Dyke Brown. Oops. And all I'm going to do is apply that to the plaster. Now we even mix in that bit there. Now that's still a really strong mix. And I think what I'm going to do, you want to start off with a really light mix. I've really put too much in there, but we'll see how we go. Let's see how thick how quick that's been. Just pick up some of those bits that were a bit light. So there you go. You've already got quite a bit of variety there, and then you can overlap that with some other colours later. Well, I'm going to put that one aside to dry. Just a couple of little points where it's just a little bit of white showing through. And once that's dry, you could also weather that with some Indian ink just to pick out the real low spots. But you saw how quick that was. So I've added quite a bit more thinner to that. And you want to hold it upright so it fills the crevices, whichever way you're thinking of using this. Yeah, you can see that one, that's much lighter now. That's That's better. We can always make it darker by adding more, but we can't take it away. Once it's there, it's there. And I'm not worrying if it falls down on the work surface. I've got just a sheet of glass, which I recommend greatly for lots of hobby applications. It just cleans easily. Glue, paint, anything. Now, so there's one which is much lighter now, and that's a nice base. You can come back later and fill that up. Even here you can see it's a little bit darker, just there was a little bit more there, but you've got a good base to start with. We'll do a different casting before we change to a different colour. Even let the paint just sit in those low areas for a little bit. And tip it off. You got some great contrast with, you saw how much effort that was. I'll do another. Very conscious. Just want to make sure I cover all the white at least. And there, it's not quite taking as well. Just let that sit for a while. There we go. Again, this is the one I was thinking of for the tunnel liner, particularly the roof area, but I might put a little bit more colour in there. Let's see how we go. So that's much darker to start with. And even just letting it dry there a little bit, it will pick up much darker bits. Because again, this is a tunnel liner, so it's not really going to be seen, doesn't really matter too much. You just want to get rid of any of the white really. It's probably a bit thinner than I'd really like. We might thicken that up just because it'll save a bit of work. So again, these are not accurately measured. As long as you've got a bit of an idea of how much, so you can get the consistency you want. That's better. That's nice and darker in one go. If it's some high visibility areas on your layout, you might want much lighter washes, and you do a couple of washes until you get the final colour you want, because as I say, you can put more on, but you can't take it off. That's not bad. Indian ink wash or a dark, really dark colour wash will pick up some of those things too. We go to another colour, but I'll use up this first on some of the tunnel liners. even if it's just as a base. I'll show you these once they're dried as well. I'm nearly out. So we'll go to another colour. And we'll go to some burnt umber. Now you'll see that I'm not washing anything in between because I want to actually blend all these colours together. They're all got the same base. So just blend them together. Here's that for quick. So you can make any colour you want really by just experimenting what sort of mix you like, what washes you want to mix together. That's actually looking quite nice now. As you can see, some of that excess I'm just tipping off.